Stupid phone. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about those that are guilty of what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that, you know, anybody's better than anybody, right? It's people can only do their best, or what they've been taught. Let me say that. People only do know to do what they've been taught, right? You have to break, you have to unlearn the things that you've been taught since a child. You have to undo what has been done since a child. The Holy Spirit let me know when I was a kid that nobody was going to, except for my grandfather, right? I was going to have to teach myself how to do things, which I did my whole life. I've taught myself how to do things 111 on my timer. And this is something that I had an understanding of when I was about what, 8, 7, 8, 9, knowing that a lot of the stuff that I learned on my own. And I was going to continue to learn on my own, to be self taught, right? And taught by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's been teaching me since the first encounter that I've had with the Holy Spirit. I think I was 5 that I remember. I think I was 5 or 6, and I felt the presence of God come in my room, and I knew that it was the presence of God. That's the crazy thing. I knew that it was the presence of God. It's kind of like it feels. It's as though I knew it more then than I found out later, growing up, right? And it makes sense because I was still very, very young, which means I had a better, not a better, but I had a still uh such a strong connection to the divine at 5, 6 years old, right? Especially all of the pain and abuse and stuff that I was going through, because I think I tried to, I think I tried to take my life the first time when I was like 8, 9. I took some Tylenol PMs or something. I went blind for 24 hours, right? But the point is, I'm a kid when this is happening, right? So you can imagine how long or when my suffering started, right? The abuse and all that started. I was teaching myself and taking care of myself, and giving myself pep talks, and I raised myself. My grandfather raised me, yes, but I raised myself at the same time. My grandfather couldn't always be around. He worked a lot, a lot. And especially when I went to move with my mom and my grandma or whoever else I lived with, I raised myself, right? I was just basically a seat filler in their family portrait, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't no portrait, but you know what I'm saying. I was the redheaded stepchild, the black sheep, the exiled child that nobody wanted to keep, right? Now today, knowing who I am, I know why. Um, the sexual abuse, right? The my older cousins trying to pimp me out in high school, like crazy, crazy. And if you ask them something about that today, they'd probably deny that it ever even happened. But it happened. It happened right under the nose of all my aunts and uncles and everything. But hey, they got kids now of their own, so they're dealing with the same things that they tried to do and did to me. That's gonna fall upon their kids, right? When they covered up, uh, what happened to me, my cousin did or whatever to me, my sister. When they covered that up, all they were doing was marking their next generation for it to happen to them. That's what they were doing, and it's happening to them. Sad to say, unfortunately, but it's the fault of the parents. It's the fault of my cousins that now have kids, and I'm sure they're suffering through that now. I'm sure it's coming to their mind how they treated me when I was coming up, and now their kids are being treated the same way. Yeah, and it's funny that parents they don't think about their generations coming and how how their decisions today affect their future generations. 5:55 on my timer, but I'm not them. Never have been, never will be. I've thought about this since I was a kid. I've thought like this since I was a child. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that I've just developed, right? I've thought like this since I ever since I can remember. That tells me that I was a very advanced child. For me to understand things that adults around me did not understand. Like I wasn't a slow child. Not at all, right? I listened more than I spoke. I observed more than I let on that I even knew what was going on. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to say that you know what's going on, or you don't always have to point out what's going on. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself, right? It's better for you to let people. It's better for you to allow people to think that they're pulling the wool over your eyes, or allow people to think that they got one over on you, right? It's better to allow them to think that, okay, until the time comes. Because when the time finally comes and arrives, they're going to look back and they're going to see that you knew the whole time. And they're going to feel even more like a clown. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I don't have to take revenge into my own hands. I'm glad that vengeance belongs to the Lord. I'm glad. I'm happy about it. Because if vengeance belonged to us, where would we be? Yeah, there'd be a lot of body bags and toe tags probably. I'm just being honest. Hey, but thank God it's not like that for us, right? We can't do what other people do, right? Even though sometimes we may want to. Oh, and we know how. Well, but we're cut from a different cloth, right? God fights our battles. The battle is not ours, it is God's, right? That's why people were sitting here looking at you and I like, how are they so calm and how are they just so together and healing and just upgrading and upgrading? Because the battle is not ours, it is our Father's. And you've been fighting against our Father this whole time. So of course we're laxed. Of course we're over here enjoying our spoils of war. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know I went off on a little tangent, but I guess I need to say everything that was said for somebody. Um, Congratulate yourselves more, beloved. Realize that what you're doing and what you are taking part in, right, in this whole scheme of things, realize that you have been breaking curses. You have been changing things for the generations to come after you. And you will see the real, true result until your kids come into fruition and their kids and their kids and their kids, beloved. You will see it all unfold. All of the work, all of the initiative and the perseverance that you had, you'll see it. Your kids will see it. Their kids will see it. Your kids will tell them about what you did here today. Okay? And in the past, you are the matriarch of your family now. You're at the top of that tree. You, it's your family tree now. If anybody that came before you, they're cut off. They're cut off, beloved. They're cut off. This is your tree. This is your story. This is your family. Brand new. 10-10 on the sign or rip rip me out the plastic. What? Okay. So, good job, beloved. 10:23 on my timer. And I can't wait until you see the result of all of your hard work, not just in your life, but in the lives of your descendants to come. All right. All right. I love y'all, beloved. 10:44 time. Peace.